Why did hundreds of people dance themselves to death? No music, no celebration. Just the sound of footsteps pounding cobblestones in the heat of summer, 1518. Bodies trembling, hearts racing. And the terrifying part, they couldn't stop. Some called it a curse. Others blamed the devil. But centuries later, we're still not sure what really happened in Strasbourg that year. Let's dig into one of the strangest medical mysteries in history, the dancing plague of 1518. It's July. The city of Strasbourg, part of the Holy Roman Empire, is sweltering under the summer sun. Crops are failing, famine is close. The people are scared, hungry, and deeply religious. The perfect storm for panic and superstition. In that world, life and death felt like acts of God. And sometimes, God's message looked like madness. One morning, a woman named Frau Trophäa stepped into the street. No one noticed her at first, but then she started to move. Slow, awkward steps at first, then frantic ones. She twirled, jerked, spun, and didn't stop. Hours passed, then a day, then another. By day 3, her feet were raw and bleeding, but she couldn't stop dancing. Neighbors stared in horror. Some thought she'd gone mad. Others whispered she'd been cursed by St. Vitus, the patron saint of dancing and epilepsy. And then, something even stranger happened. People started joining her. 10, 20, 30. Men, women, even children, all dancing uncontrollably. Within a week, over 100 people were in the streets, swaying and convulsing. Doctors were summoned, and they decided the dancers had hot blood. Their treatment plan was to let them dance it out. So the city built a stage. They hired musicians. They gave the dancers space, hoping they'd tire themselves and recover. But instead, the crowd exploded. Hundreds joined. The square became a writhing sea of bodies. Witnesses said some collapsed from exhaustion. Some broke their ribs. Others, their hearts simply gave out. Imagine watching your friends and family die because they couldn't stop moving. The city was in chaos. Priests held vigils. Officials banned music, then re-allowed it, desperate for answers. And still, the dancing continued. Medicine in the 1500s was a strange mix of science and superstition. Doctors talked about the 4 humors, blood, phlegm, black bile, and yellow bile, and believed sickness came from imbalance. They bled patients, burned herbs. Some even said the dancers were being punished for sin. So priests ordered a pilgrimage to a mountain shrine dedicated to St. Vitus. Dancers were carried there, shoes filled with crosses. Prayers were whispered, holy water sprinkled, and slowly the frenzy began to fade. But no one knew why. It wouldn't be the last outbreak either. Similar dancing manias appeared across Europe for centuries. Smaller, but equally strange. Centuries later, scientists tried to explain what happened. Could it have been a poison? One theory blamed ergot, a fungus that grows on damp rye and creates chemicals similar to LSD. If the townspeople ate contaminated bread, they might have hallucinated, convulsed, even danced. But there's a problem. Ergot poisoning causes spasms and pain, not rhythmic dancing, and it usually affects individuals, not entire communities. So another theory emerged: mass psychogenic illness, basically mass hysteria. When people share intense fear, stress, or trauma, the body can react: convulsions, tremors, loss of control. And in the right conditions, it can spread like emotional wildfire. In 1518, that wildfire was fear itself. To understand the plague, we need to understand them. Life in 1518 was brutal. Plague outbreaks, starvation, religious fanaticism. Hope was fragile. The church taught that sin brought suffering. and that redemption might come through suffering too. When Frau Trophea began to dance, maybe others saw divine meaning in it. Maybe they believed it was a sign of deliverance or punishment they had to endure together. And when belief takes hold, it's contagious. Modern psychologists call it conversion disorder. When emotional pain manifests physically, your body acts out what your mind can't handle. In Strasbourg, it wasn't just one body, it was hundreds, all expressing the same fear, the same guilt, the same need to release. After nearly 2 months, the dancing finally stopped. Records say the remaining victims were taken to the St. Vitus shrine, the same place blamed for the curse. Some recovered, some didn't. The city returned to normal. Markets reopened. Life went on, as if nothing had happened. But the memory of that summer haunted Strasbourg for generations, and the mystery has never been fully solved. Today, the dancing plague of 1518 is more than a historical curiosity. It's a case study in the power of the human mind, and how belief, fear, and community can shape our very biology. Mass hysteria hasn't disappeared. It's just changed form. From witch hunts to online panics, we still see how emotion spreads faster than logic. The story of Strasbourg reminds us that sometimes the scariest epidemics don't start in the body. They start in the mind. So, why did hundreds of people dance themselves to death? Maybe the real answer lies in how deeply human we all are, driven by fear, faith, and the desperate need to make sense of chaos. If this story fascinated you, subscribe for more mysteries that history forgot. Until then, stay curious and keep your feet still.